Everybody, Box Boa coming back at you again. This is Athena. She's my Motley boa. She's just absolutely gorgeous. She's from a fire breeding, but she is not a fire, or which can then go on to make them super diamonds, which is just a leucistic boa. But she's absolutely gorgeous. But that's not what I want to talk about. You guys have seen her in videos and stuff like that. You've heard me describe her. I mean, yes, she is a gorgeous looking Motley, and she's actually in her dark phase today, and still looks really light. Just look at that. But that ain't what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is, we hear about burns, we hear about carp pythons, we hear about blood pythons and things like that that can be really aggressive as babies and nippy, and they come out of it. Now, she was aggressive a baby as a boa, loved to bite the crap out of me, which I didn't mind, didn't hurt. Now that she's, up there, getting up in size, I mean, she's not huge or anything yet, but the one thing that she's never stopped, and it's something that, I've come across with some of my boas, but she's probably the worst one of them all, the worst offenders. She likes to hiss. Anytime I open her cage up, she opens her mouth, open mouth gapes, and lets out the loudest hisses. I mean, and she will continue to do it. That doesn't stop me. I reach right in, I grab her. Now, I don't go up and grab her by the head or anything like that like I'm doing now, not when she's hissing. But I just touch her around the body, the midsection, then I just pick her up. She keeps hissing. The minute I have her in my hand, the hissing stops. So that's the thing. You got to learn the signs of your boa. She's just saying, I don't want to be messed with. She just happens to be a very vocal boa. As you can see now, she's completely fine. But that's what I want to talk about too. I'm not scared to get bit. If you have a snake, and there's nothing wrong, I understand the fear of getting bit because it's a shock, when they tag you real quick. And sometimes, yes, it can hurt. I'm not going to sit there and say a big snake bites you, it doesn't hurt. No, I've been tagged by some big snakes, and it does hurt. Nothing that'll kill you or anything like that. And you bleed more. You bleed a lot because there's proteins in their saliva, anticoagulants in their saliva, that when they do bite you, you do bleed a lot from a snake bite. The minute you wash it off, you realize that this thing that was bleeding is tiny little pinpricks and nothing. You're like, how am I even bleeding from that? That's why you bleed more. So that's why when you see people post pictures up of their snakes biting and they're bleeding, they're just doing that for dramatic purposes, because the truth is, the minute they wipe that away, there's hardly any mark there. You might have a bruise or something, but nothing. But you can't be afraid of your snake. I don't care how mean, how aggressive, how many times you get tagged. You have to go approach your snake with 100% confidence. If you're not confident, they know it. They will sense it, and they will just even lash out even more. They'll act up a little bit more. It's a dominance thing in a different way, not like a dog dominance thing, but just a different way. And if you notice, I'm not afraid to put her up by my face or anything like that. She's never ever bit me since she was a tiny little worm. But that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about confidence. You have to have confidence. She's a bigger snake. Now, most people, if they see a snake like her size hissing, the bigger she gets, the louder the hiss will get, are going to be scared. They're going to pull back. You can't do that. You have to reach in and let it know, hey. Now, I don't just reach in and grab its head like I said. I reach in and I touch her butt, and then I reach in and grab her. But I know that the risk of me doing that can end up in a bite. Now, there are things I can do. I can use my snake hook just to touch her body and let her know, hey, it's not food. But that's not what the hiss is about. Her hiss is not a food response. So I'm not worried about a food strike. I know she's just bluffing. And that comes to you getting to know your snake and each individual snake, which I've talked about in other videos. So when it comes to a snake, you have to have confidence. You can't be afraid of getting bit. You're gonna get bit at some point in time owning any snake. I don't care how puppy dog tame somebody claims it is, or that it's never bit you. At some point in time, it might bite you. And the more snakes you own, the more chances you have of being bit by a snake. It's no different than a dog or a cat. I've been bit by my cats. I've been bit by other people's dogs, you know, but it's a fear. And so you have to overcome your own fear, and you can't pull back. You know, I'm sitting here letting her do that. If she wanted to bite me right now, that's fine. I'm not going to yank my arm back. I'm going to let her do it. Obviously, she isn't going to. But that's what I'm talking about. You have to be confident in your snake handling abilities. And so when you're getting a snake, whether it's a baby, a juvenile, or adult, know that you have to have confidence when approaching that snake. I get asked a lot, my snake still bites me, my snake still bites me. You guys can go and watch, you know, there's a video on taming carpet pythons that I did. You can go and watch that video and see different techniques I do with babies. But it still comes down to confidence. You have to have confidence, and if it bites you, that's okay. Don't let that deter you from continuing to work with that snake. Don't let that stop you. And now I'm not talking about a big Burmese python or a retic. I'm talking about your boas, your carpet pythons, your blood pythons, you know, your garter snakes, things like that. You know, obviously, you know, when you're talking about your retics and your burms, that's a little bit different. You know, but you still have to have confidence in handling even them big snakes. Some people think boas are big snakes. I don't. I think they're just the right size. But it's still confidence. So when you handle or do anything, and I keep saying again, you have to have complete confidence. You have to have trust in your snake handling abilities. You have to trust in what you're doing and what you're going to do. And you have to be concise with your movements. You can't just go, if you do that, that's a moving target. That's a fast moving target. The snake is not going to see that spray, but it's going to see something going like that, and it's going to want to go out and say, hey, what's up? You're not going to hurt me. You know, so when I go in, I grab her. I just go in, I touch her body, I rub it, and then I pick her right up. And she'll still hiss at me, and within 2 seconds, she's as nice as can be. So that's my kind of little tip for today. You know, have confidence, trust in your snake handling abilities. If you have a snake hook, rub their belly. Don't pick them up with it. Rub their side, rub their back, let them know, and then just reach in and grab that snake out. If you get tagged, that's okay. You know, just roll with it. Just don't give up, don't quit, and you'll have a great relationship with your snake. So just my little rant, my little tip. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this is Boxing Bo again, and this is Athena, and as always, my son's right behind there doing the camera work. You guys have a good day. Like always, please like, click, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and you know I will get back to you. This is Boxing Bo saying peace.